Good morning and welcome to Tea Time. My name is JaKaTaK. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to analyze a conversation I had on Reddit discussion. And first of all, I'd like to dispel the myth that Reddit is this, cesspool of demons and degenerates, and nobody can have an intelligent discussion on Reddit. And the same thing with Twitch chat. Nobody can have an intelligent discussion on, it's like, of course you can. You can have intelligent discussions with people of differing point of views or the same point of view everywhere. The medium or the place, the area that you're in does not prevent that from happening. And actually, Reddit has this particularly cool voting system that allows that kind of intelligent discussion to happen a lot of the times. Although, sometimes it degenerates into, you disagree with me, so therefore I'm downvoting you, etc., etc. But, So, starts here. Can we not act like total virgin guys? Just because Parting took a photo with a girl doesn't mean he did the business. It's not like he's Stefano. So, I think the idea that's sort of coming across is, or what I took out of it was, let's be more mature. Let's, take it to a higher level. Let's be more mature individuals as a whole, on our star graph. That's kind of what I took from it, sort of call for maturity. And I like that. I think it's great. I think that we can be more mature than we are as a community, and that would be awesome. And pointing out that this is like, not a big deal. Oh, by the way, the post is this. Parting at a restaurant. The handcuffs are decorations called the breakout or something like that. In any case, it's a picture of him hanging out with someone who's not a man, and people are like, oh my god, and it's kind of fun to joke about that and stuff. But Kespa's here and saying, okay, let's, this is a call for maturity. Let's be a little bit more mature, guys. And I'm like, that's awesome. But what I'm going to criticize is his use of language here. And he says, did the business. And what I respond to that is, say, if we're not going to act like total virgin guys, you should probably just use the word sex instead of did the business. No need to be afraid of it. It's just a word. And reading it now, I don't know my mental state at this point in time, but this is worded far more abrasively than I intended it to, and I apologize for that. A big mistake I made here. As I said, no need to be afraid of it. I did not consider that was going to be taken or could be taken as like a personal attack, which was not my intention. But reading it now, it's like, obviously, someone posts this to me. It's just like, no, like, what the fuck, man? Why are you being a jerk? And I apologize for that. But what I was attempting and failing to get across was bringing up sort of the discussion, the idea that I think that we can up the maturity another level by using the word sex. And even if it even sounds weird saying it, because I don't have opportunity to say sex all that often, because the language that we speak in the culture that we're in, like I would say Western culture, but probably more of the United States than anything else, from what I've heard, is just sort of afraid of this word sex and this idea like sex is taboo. You're not supposed to tell kids about it. It's awkward having the talk with your kids, and it's like, oh god, I don't want to tell them about sex and all this stuff. And it's just sort of like, sex is a fantastic, natural, normal, wonderful thing that can be abused like everything else can, and in some cases can be abused in terrible, awful ways. That's like incredibly, incredibly painful to people, because it's, a lot of reasons, really. I'm not going to get into that. It's very much an aside. But the point is, like, sex is necessary for us as a species to survive, and it's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to be taboo about and use euphemisms, I think, So what I was attempting to do is bring up the discussion of the idea, why not use the word sex here? I think that would come off, if you just replace did the business with sex, it would come off even stronger and more mature. I thought that wasn't my idea. And then Kespa responds, and I did a horrible job. This is the mistake right here. This is where I walk my marine clump into siege tanks like an idiot. That's where it happens. And then he says, it's pretty clear the whole thing was a joke, and doing the business is a wonderful turn of phrase. I generally am not a huge fan of the idea, like, oh, it was a joke, therefore the idea that you're bringing up is invalid because what I said was a joke. The thing that you're responding to was a joke, therefore it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's sort of like, okay, doing the business is a wonderful turn of phrase. The way I say it, I was just trying to make the point, again, very poorly, that I think that if you use the word sex, it's an opportunity for you to use the word sex and to inspire maturity or something like that. I say, of course, I'm trying to like lighten this up, and this gets me lots of downvotes, which is interesting. But I'm an optimizer. This is a mistake. Defining yourself is always a mistake, because whenever you define it, so I am X, it always comes off as like elitist and pretentious and things like that. It's always a mistake to do that, because it's also like absolute definitive language. It's not smart to use. It's not accurate, really. I am an optimizer. What does that mean? It's using that language to bring this off. Again, that was a mistake. When I see an opportunity for optimization, no matter how small, I like to point it out. I'm trying to tie this into what I do, and trying to make a allusion to sort of like, yeah, I make crazy little tiny tweaks and hotkeys that, matter the tiniest bit, but I like to always look for improvement and things like that. But at this point, it's not, it's too late. At this point, I should have walked away and reconsidered and had time to think about it, and then said, oh, I'm sorry, I was way too aggressive in the way that I was bringing up my point. I was just trying to say, hey, I think that, all the stuff that I said before, let's not be too repetitious about this. But, the word sex accomplishes doing the business does in less time, effort. It makes a stronger case for not acting like total virgin guys. The use of quotes, too, tends to be abrasive. If you quote someone else in this kind of way, it tends to be abrasive. This was really bad. Ultimately, was debating on StarCraft Reddit. And again, I'm trying to say, I think furthering discussion of the fear of certain words and language and what that indicates is an optimal use of my time. Saying sort of, yeah, just because it's on Reddit doesn't mean we can have a discussion about it. You're making a lot of assumptions. The real reason I didn't write just because parting took a photo with a girl and had sex with him was because I was making a joke about Stefano not writing a Tumblr blog. Why would anyone be afraid of the word sex? Well, that's again, I say, that's an excellent question. I'm trying to just be like, okay, let's move this discussion to something different, just failing all over the place. Like, at this point, my base is getting, like, destroyed by all the things, and I have no units left, but I'm still staying in the game like an idiot. But yeah, so not writing a Tumblr blog, so I think that Kespa is personally offended here, which is not my goal. And he's saying, I'm not afraid of the word sex here, I believe, by saying, why would anyone be afraid of the word sex? The assumption is that he doesn't. By saying that, he's saying that he doesn't. He's not afraid of the word sex. And he is insulted that I would suggest that. And that was a mistake. It's not about the person. It's about the idea. It should be more focused on presenting the idea and avoiding all discussion about the person completely. And any allusions to something that might be about the person, have to avoid those also. Very important. But yeah, so this is the why so serious, not running a tumble blog. Why so serious? Which is very difficult to avoid bringing things up. And Kesper said, I've never had my opinion change on a man as quickly as I have while having this conversation with you. Just please say you were drunk and something I want to like you. Kesper, I'm going to post this to him. Let's get this in the camera mode, shall we? I'd like to personally apologize to you. I tend to upvote your stuff a lot. I tend to think that you have really interesting things to add to the discussion on Reddit, and I'm sorry that I did not communicate what I was trying to communicate correctly, and I'm sorry that I attacked you directly instead of non-abrasively bringing up an idea so we could have an intelligent discussion. I do believe that the fault is mine, and I apologize. Everyone else, hope you learned something from my mistake. And the last thing that I want to bring up is the concept of, like, well, people kind of know who you are in our StarCraft, so if you're going to bring something that might be controversial, you should just use a Smurf, so that way you can do whatever you want. It's fine. I could have done that. And I could have avoided, like, losing a fan or losing the respect. Rather, the more important thing, losing the respect of an intelligent person that I respect, which is an unfortunate situation. Hopefully he can forgive me. We'll find out. But then I don't have this whole discussion. Then I don't have this whole reflection on the way that I'm presenting my ideas, and I don't have this opportunity for improvement, you know? And one final allusion to StarCraft is like playing unranked or ranked, you know? It's really the same thing, or like using a smart, you know, it's really the same thing. The game is all the same. It all plays out the same way. The comments all fall the same way. But unranked you take a little bit less seriously, and you're more likely to make the improvements and play your best when there's something on the line, even though it's imaginary points. So, a silly amount of controversial things that I've brought up and probably not worded all correctly, so I hope you all can get to the content of what I'm saying, and I will continue to try and make what I say and what you hear as close to the same thing as possible.